Welcome to Connecting the Community podcast. I am your host, Marj Andre. I will be connecting you to people, organizations, and events that create community. I am creating this podcast in Richmond Hill, an eclectic and very culturally diverse community with lots of trees and streams and interesting people, just up the hill from Toronto. On this podcast, I am talking with Eduardo Morales. I met him at the Village Market a few weeks ago. The manager of the market, Brooke Scott, said, I would really want to talk with him. He was there promoting a new organization or movement, Skill Share Social Club.
So I'm Eduardo. What's up, Richmond Hill? I'm the kind of founder / not really founder, but organizer for Skillshare Social Club. And yeah, it's my new project I'm starting. And yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like your background, and why is it that you started this Skillshare Social Club?
Yeah, so I started it because, well, first, just some history. I was pretty much like my entire life, I've been kind of like a lone wolf. I've really never really been like a people person, right? And I think that was largely because in school, I was just kind of by myself the whole time. I wasn't really I didn't make many friends and stuff like that. So when I first got out of school, I'm just like, crap, I don't have any connections or anything. I don't have any friends to talk to. I don't have anyone to hang out with. So I decided to put a shift in my life and kind of move towards building community, building connections with others. Because ultimately, I feel like that's a very big goal of mine and I feel like that solves a lot of problems with people, is that they don't have a lot of community in their lives. They don't have, just like me, my problem was I didn't have any friends. So now I'm building a network of sorts with Skillshare Social Club and also in my personal life. So yeah, that's how Skillshare Social Club kind of got started. I just snowballed into effect, and here I am.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you for telling us that. Now, I did look at what you're doing, and I saw that this organization is associated with Life.School.House. It's a movement that started out in Nova Scotia. Can you tell us something about Life.School.House?
Yeah, I could tell you. So they work on a gift economy system, and the gift economy is basically instead of our current economy where you kind of just pay money in exchange for goods and services. A gift economy is like giving something out of the kindness of your heart, with the only kind of restraint or give backsies I think there is just that the person you're giving your goods and services to will have your back in the future. They'll support you in the future and they'll support what you're doing. Okay. And I really like the gift economy because it kind of takes out the concept of a currency, and it kind of just focus on people's goodwill instead of, it kind of focus on the more human aspect of giving and nurturing. So I feel like that's a really good thing. So Life.School.House works out of that movement, and the knowledge share is kind of go hand in hand with that, in the sense that you don't need an incentive to teach people or to learn something. You just need to have the will to learn and teach something, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think that's really good.
Yeah. Now, I was impressed with the website. Have you had any contact with the organizers of this Life.School.House?
Yes, Life.School.House. I'm actually working with Melissa. Her name's Melissa. I don't know her last name, but we call her Melissa. And she is a very smart and intelligent woman. She's very go-getting. She's very, she's just really supportive of my work and the work that she's trying to do. She's very passionate about that. And yeah, she's basically chaperoning me in a way. So she is providing insurance, and we also have the nonprofit label under her. So we kind of have that going for Skillshare Social Club. So I think that's really helpful. And again, I just emailed her, no strings attached. I just emailed her saying hey, can I do this? I'm sure, yeah, I'll help you out. And here we are. Woo. It's that easy.
Yeah, very, very impressive. No, I encourage people to look at what this is all about. Optimistic. But I do consider it as counterculture, maybe building community. What are your comments?
Well, it depends on what counterculture really means to you, because there's a bunch of different cultures in this world. So what would you think would be, what culture is this countering, would you say?
Well, mainstream culture.
So you're saying like kind of like, the system of like going to school, get a work, pay bills until you die, that kind of sort of thing?
And even the idea of paying for everything, like what you're doing, the offering, the teaching, the courses, the skills, there isn't money involved. It's a gift economy. So a gift
Mhm.
economy is, again, counterculture.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say
Yeah.
so. I feel like it's different from the mainstream. I would say it's a culture in its own right as well. Because like if you look at history and if you look at like even like now, there's tons of gift economies happening right now. Like if you just go, like for example, like there's organizations out there like that have like solidarity economy. That's also a word for it, where they kind of exchange money or exchange people and exchange anything really, just resources in general to help like move along the movement that they're both trying to build. Forever to do that, to progress in society and as a humanity, we have to kind of move towards like, hey, why do we have to like save the world if it's profitable for like a handful of companies? Like that just doesn't make any sense. So yes, I would say it's definitely counterculture in that sense. And for
Yep.
building community, I would say it's also, I feel like that's just a no-brainer. Like everyone needs community, and like a lot of people like don't realize that they need community, but we really do need people that we can have our backs. And when times get tough, life is very unpredictable. When times get tough, you need to have people that will have your back.
Thank you for saying that. I do find what you're doing, this is really, there's a spirit of hope. You are building agency for people, so both as an individual and as a community. So yeah, it's all interesting ideas. Now, you mentioned to me at the village market that your skill is fixing circuit boards. Can you tell us about this skill?
Yeah, so I have a circuit board right here, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a box of full of it, actually. Like, I'm hoping that these will come in handy if I ever need to fix something or if I need to replace a part on something else. If not, I could just buy it off like iFixit. There's a website called iFixit that sells electronic parts for like basically everything. But yeah, so basically, I used to think it was scary because like you're opening up electronics, like what if there's battery acid, or what if there's like a loose circuit, or what if I break everything? And I used to be scared about that, but in reality, it's kind of just like a plug and play system. So you basically just unscrew a bunch of stuff, find screws, unscrew it, take out the things, take out the thing you need, find the part that's broken, take it out, and replace it with a new part. And that's basically all that it is. So yeah, so it's basically like a plug and play system. I don't think it's that difficult to like get into or like even like repair. Like you don't need to know anything about computers really. You kind of just need to know about this. This is where this goes, and this is where that goes, kind of thing. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I have that fear of not wanting to open up my laptop for fear of wreck everything. And yeah, so
Yeah.
I give you credit for overcoming that fear and actually doing things. But how did you get involved with, like, started on understanding circuit boards? I don't think a lot of people do.
Yeah, so I don't know. Since I was a kid, I like always got fascinated by like just learning how things work.
Okay.
Like for example, like when I looked at the grass and I looked at the blue sky, if I looked at the ocean, I'm just like, okay, but how did I get there?
Yeah.
Like how does it work? Like like what's under the hood per se? So I realized that like a lot of people don't know. Every day like we interact with so many things that people have no idea what the heck it even works or how it even came to be. I feel like that shouldn't be, honestly. I feel like everyone should learn how things work to some degree. Like you don't have to be an expert on it, but you should have like some degree of knowledge in like every little thing that you interact with or you is really like a big step in your life. So a big thing for me was technology. Like I used to like always like look in the news like, oh, what's the new latest product or what's the latest thing, but I kind of like lost interest in that and kind of to love like what's under the hood. Okay, like how does a product get to market? How does like a manufacturer even develop such things? Like what are the materials built into it? How do they get the materials? I kind of got interested in a lot of that stuff. So it kind of just led down a rabbit hole of just like a bunch of scary stuff, but also like a bunch of like really cool and interesting stuff. And scary stuff, I mean like these big companies like, doing bad things to get their products. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I'm more into like open source community. Open source basically means it's basically a piece of technology where the information is available to everyone, whether it be like a program, the code is available, or a circuit board where like the schematics and like, oh shit, and the schematics and stuff are like available to everyone. That's what open source means. And it's a growing movement that I feel like is going to get a lot popular. Yeah, that's how I got into it.
Okay, that's interesting. And I do think with the current state of affairs, with us thinking about supply chains and what happens south of the border, we are giving more thought to where things come from and how they get here. So yeah, I think
Definitely.
it's a movement. I think another movement, another thing that's happening is this right to repair legislation. Are you following that conversation?
Yeah, I'm definitely following it. So, right to repair is basically a movement of like it started in the EU, and I think European manufacturers and European governments have actually cracked down on it and like saying like, hey, we need to do this, or else everyone there's gonna be just the world's just gonna be full of e-waste, full of garbage. So that's the thing. So, right to repair basically is the right to have to hold electronic manufacturers and electronic suppliers, designers, like everyone in the whole ecosystem, are responsible to make sure their electronics, their products, are repairable, that anyone could open it up and replace a part if they need to. Because right now it's really hard to open up an iPhone. Like, I don't know if you ever tried, but it's really hard to open up an iPhone. You have to essentially break it. So saying like, hey, we don't want to do this, because if you think of like a phone as a bike, if a bike tire pops or if a bike chain like gets like dismantled in some way, you don't just throw out the whole bike and buy a new one. You've replaced the part and then you continuing with your bike that you already had. And that's what we're trying to think of, like what electronics could be in the future, where like if a part breaks, you don't have to throw out the whole phone and get a new phone, which will make the Apple or Google more money in the long run, but it'll also like create a bunch of more garbage and also like provide a lot of like unnecessary like trash and trauma and all sorts of bad stuff to low income communities, because this is where they get, because like if you look at India, like it's just a trash pile at this point. Like there's so much e-waste there. So that's why and that's because like the US and Canada and like all these like richer countries are like dumping their stuff there because they don't have a place to put it.
Yeah,
they really don't have a place to put it because there's so much.
That's some
So
good
it's
food
really,
for thought. Yeah, we need to start
yeah.
thinking about these things. And so thank you for reminding of us that. Now, have
Yeah.
you given thought to this issue of, free things, free courses? Like, how does that fit into a capitalist economy? Like, there are people who offer these courses on, I think, a lot of the things that you are considering having exchange for free.
Yeah. So honestly, like I'm gonna get a bit controversial here, but I honestly think capitalism as a system, it provided sustenance and a better life of living at one point, but at this point in our timeline, it's failing us. It really is failing us because we need incentives. Like as I said before, like why do we have to put a human life? Why do we have to put millions of human lives on a dollar? Like on like a currency system? Because at this point, like there's some things in this life where you can't put a dollar on it, but capitalism and like capitalists say that like, oh, you can put a price on like a natural disaster, or you can put a price on like human culture, or you can put a price on like a human life, a baby that has cancer. Like, I'm sorry to get a bit dark here, but that's the reality of it, where it's like we're paying things that we don't need, and the money that's going to the money that's like not going to like things that it should be going to is just capitalism is just not a good system at this point. So I feel like we have to kind of not necessarily like day and night like capitalism into like another economy based system, gift economy, or as I say, or as a lot of people say, is socialism. Socialism is also another option, and also another word that's being popping around is eco-socialism, which is like a movement growing around a socialist economy based on the environment and the planet. And there's a lot of different groups and organizations that are trying to start this new system of society, and we should be paying attention to those, because they're really the people that are like suffering from capitalist energy, and they're trying to fix that.
Yeah, no,
they see a problem that's broken and they fix it. That's what we are.
I like that way of seeing things. So yes, I think a lot of us are questioning capitalism and looking for other alternatives. I'm glad that you are part of that conversation. Now, are you associated with any other groups? Have you aligned with yourself with any different organizations?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, since the start of this year, 2025, I made it my mission to volunteer or like give back in any way I can. Other than that, I'm also with Leaf, which is a tree planting organization. They plant trees in
Yep.
different urban areas like parks, cities, and stuff like that. So, one thing that I recently joined, and I'm actually kind of more in line. I don't know what to say. Like, I'm more like, I don't think I'm part of the committee, but I'm part of like the group that's mainstreaming all of this, like eco-socialism. So they're called the Plant-Based Treaty. And basically what we're trying to do is that we're a climate activist group that are trying to see like what the problems are with our food systems, and seeing like a lot of these food systems are like growing, and they're like putting a lot of CO2 in the atmosphere. They're causing a lot of pollution, especially with animal agriculture and factory farming. That's definitely a big cause of climate change. And we're looking at that and saying like, hey, we need to hold these like companies responsible for polluting the air with their food systems, and move towards a more holistic, local, natural food process.
Yeah, I think you had some of their flyers at the village market there.
I did,
So
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it made a lot of sense that you were at the village market. So you are having your, I believe it's inaugural event, June 28th, 1 to 3 p.m. at the Richmond Green Library. Can you tell me about this event? Like, what's happening? Who's going to be there?
Yeah, so basically, Skillshare Social Club, we're event-led groups where basically every event or every group, every little get-together is just going to be us like teaching each other basic skills and basic principles, stuff we learned that week. I'm planning to have it like every month or so. We have something new that we can learn, and it's going to be a really hands-on experience. So like one day we may go to a farm if we want to learn gardening. We may go to a construction site if we want to learn how to build things or repair or home repair or stuff like that. And I'm in contact with a bunch of different organizations that are willing to help us do that. But for the first event, is just going to be a chill meetup where we're going to discuss what we want out of the group, where it's going, what just to get to know everybody and get to know their skills and like what they want to learn as well. So basically, what I see it as is just we're just going to meet up in the library. We're going to have like the board, and we're just going to discuss like what's the next steps from here, and also like what people really want to get out of this, because that's the ultimate goal. We don't want to like, we want to ask people what they want. We don't want to just like say like, this is what we're doing now and this is what you have to do. And we're not about that. We're more of just asking people what they want to do. That's why I'm kind of having a no strings attached approach where
Okay.
we don't have any volunteers at the moment, and if people that join the group want to kind of be more involved with it and help me out in any sort of way, then they're welcome to, and I can get in contact with them, and then we can figure something out from there.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it should be a really interesting meeting, and you should, I'm expecting you attract some interesting people. But what if someone's busy, really wants to get involved, but June 28th, they cannot come? What should they do? Can they contact you? Is there, what would you suggest?
So right now we are in like very early stages of this
Okay.
organization. We don't really know what to call it yet. We don't know if it's going to be like a co-op. I'm definitely going to go for nonprofit, or if it's just going to be like some sort of small community group that's like joins up at the library every day. What I want specifically to happen is it to like, if someone doesn't show up and they don't, if someone doesn't show up and they can't, but they want to be involved, I would say just like go to the links that we have. Just just link up via the event pages. My email's there in some of them, I believe, and you can just leave a comment. We also have a group chat
Okay.
that you can contact me by then, and the rest of the group. Everything's in the link tree basically, so you could
Okay.
just click on any one of those and go from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that will be in the podcast notes, so people can find you. And I don't think it's too difficult. So that's thank you
Yeah.
for that. Anything else that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I feel like I always talked about community, but I really think community is the backbone of society. The reason, if you solve people just like people connecting with one another, if you just get like, for example, if you just get a bunch of people in a group together with all same common interests and common goals, you can do amazing things. You can change the world. It doesn't take a lot. I truly believe that. So that's what I'm trying to do with Skillshare Social Club. Like, even though it is a small group and it is going to be like a small event coming June 28th, I believe that it's going to snowball into something really big. I think it's going to snowball into possibly like community food shelters, community community hubs. Like, for example, like I know I saw documentaries on community hubs a while back, and they were talking about like how it's just regular people like just bought a property and said like, hey, let's hold classes here, let's hold like business resources here, let's put like a cafe and like different business organizations in here, and kind of just have like a whole community kind of like a hub basically.
Yep.
Yeah, just like a bunch of center information, kind of like what a library is in a way, but it's like kind of just built off like grassroots and stuff.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense that you were at the library. I think our libraries have transitioned over the past little while, and they definitely are being an integral part of our community. So I certainly support your enthusiasm for building community. That's what I am all about. And we're going to have to keep in touch to really make sure that we are both successful. But I do end the podcast with the guest's response to the same question for everyone. I would like you to name one thing you really like about this community.
One thing I really like about this community is that people are really willing to help you out in any sort of way. Like if like people are scared of each other, I feel like in this society where like they kind of just don't want to talk to people anymore. But if you just go up to someone and say like, hey, can you like help me do this specific thing? Like can you help me move this box into this truck, for example? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. Because people are willing to help. You just have to ask for it. So I'm going to say that people are very helpful.
Okay, that is a very nice answer. And I concur with you for that. Again, I will put the link in the website, and I will put in the podcast notes how to get in touch with you. And I encourage people to reach out. But Eduardo, thank you for taking the time to do this podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Thank you for listening. I would very much appreciate you sharing this podcast. Consider emailing me at Marj, M-A-R-J, at marjandre.com. I welcome suggestions for podcast guests. Stay well, stay connected.